In solo leveling, after JinWoo and the White Tiger Guild find themselves trapped in a Red Gate dungeon, A-rank hunter Kim Chul takes the lead and creates a separate team to clear the dungeon, even offering to do it alone if no one will help. He forms a team comprised of the 8 strongest hunters, while he pushes out anyone lower than B rank, telling them they're dead weight, and their best bet is to build a camp and try to survive until they get back. As Kim Chul begins to head out, one of the women on his team decides to switch teams because back when they first arrived in the dungeon, he wasn't capable of noticing the arrows from the ice elves. So they split up, Kim Chul's group taking the path and JinWoo's entering the forest. On a freezing day in solo leveling, as Kim Chul faces off against a bunch of ice bears, JinWoo and the others calmly walk through the forest looking for a place to camp. However, he is warned to find another area because it is obvious they are in ice bear territory. JinWoo responds that it is easier to deal with the ice bears and they'll keep all of the other predators away, but it's at that moment he notices everyone is cold, so he reaches in his inventory and gives everyone coats to keep them warm and cozy, impressing them with what they call spatial magic. JinWoo promises to keep everyone safe as long as they don't ask questions and keep their mouth shut about his powers. At that moment they are attacked by an ice bear, and JinWoo in front of everyone takes it out with a single punch as they cook it up for a nice meal. Later that night after eating, JinWoo goes out to finish his daily quest, since everyone will die if he gets sent to Penalty Land. However, when that's done, he goes hunting, and that's when he comes across a cave full of ice bears, and for the first time, he summons his shadow army, giving them one command: go. And a fierce battle takes place as soldiers are ripped apart and bears are slashed. However, the soldiers are seemingly immortal because of their rapid regeneration from JinWoo's mana pool. This becomes an issue when the leader of the ice bears appears, a giant bear with a mohawk and an X scar on its chest. In response, JinWoo sends Igris to handle it since it's clearly stronger than everything else in his army. Igris dashes forward, slashing its joints and tendons in all of its arms and legs, leaving it practically helpless. The ice bear makes one final move, roaring in frustration, before Igris slashes its head off, presenting it to JinWoo, who recognizes Igris would have low-diffed him back then if he had used his sword. Then JinWoo puts his hand on the ice bear and says the words, "Arise," summoning a giant black and blue beast of a bear, giving it the name Tank, and taking the time to summon all of the shadows of the other ice bears, giving JinWoo a new beast type at his disposal. In solo leveling, while JinWoo safeguards his group and strengthens his shadow army, A-rank hunter Kim Chul faces devastation when his party encounters a group of ice orcs as their brutal battle leaves his armor almost completely shattered and his comrades mercilessly torn apart by the ferocious creatures. As the cries of his men echo while being eaten by the enemy, Kim Chul stands frozen, consumed by the thoughts of how badly he has failed and how it wouldn't have happened if he just wasn't so hungry. In that moment, before his eyes, his last comrade falls to a blade from the back of the head as the ice elves finally reach the battlefield. Kim Chul flees hopefully back to camp when he spots a pack of ice elves led by an imposing figure atop a large all-white horse. Yet even this pales in comparison to the bewildering sight that awaits Kim Chul at camp when, instead of death and despair, he discovers his fellow hunters safe, cozy, and enjoying a nice meal. Kim Chul screams at everyone for hiding food and supplies and threatens the camp into telling him what's going on, but JinWoo smacks him in the back of the head, telling him he left them all to die and came back with dead weight, as the ice elves have followed Kim back by hiding their presence. In this moment, JinWoo spots the elf riding a horse and can instantly tell that he's the boss of the dungeon. However, what he doesn't expect is to have a conversation, as this elf says he's the only useful one among the trash, but he's surprised that JinWoo answers since somehow they are speaking the same language. The king points out one of his followers as the elf who told him JinWoo might be strong since JinWoo managed to catch his arrow. He tells JinWoo the elf wanted a chance to face off with him. However, before he could even finish his sentence, the head of the elf he's speaking about disappears as they turn around and see JinWoo questioning if he has anything left to say. The elf king smiles and calls JinWoo amusing as a new battle begins, after watching him blitz one of his elves, when suddenly Jin attacks the elf on the horse only to get easily parried, thinking this fight won't be easy. The boss gets off his horse and tells JinWoo that they hear voices in their head telling them to kill humans, but he doesn't hear it for JinWoo, so he doesn't have to die as long as he gives up the hunter party. As JinWoo asks for more information, the elf glitches out and repeats the deal again, but Jin declines, leaving the boss wondering how he could possibly defeat him since they're outnumbered. JinWoo mocks him as his shadow army rises from the ground all throughout the camp, and a war between the ice elves and Jin's army breaks out. This is when Jin realizes he needs another powerful shadow if he plans on winning this fight, looking towards Kim Chul as the king of the elves introduces himself as Baruka, setting the stage for the battle to come. As JinWoo starts to do battle with the ice elf Baruka, he realizes that his current shadow army lacks the strength for the battle ahead, and he'll need a more powerful shadow as he looks towards A-rank hunter Kim Chul, who he just knocked out. JinWoo attacks Baruka, who easily dodges his attack and sends him flying with a knee to the stomach. Baruka tells JinWoo that it's been a while since he's had this much fun, when in a flash, Jin's shadow mages cast a giant fireball that lands right on the elf, as Kim Chul wakes up furious and remembers JinWoo's voice being the last thing he heard. JinWoo tells Baruka to stop wasting time and come out, but as the elf rushes towards Jin and tries to kill him behind him, Kim tries to do the same, causing Igris to defend JinWoo, stabbing Kim right through the chest, killing him. At this moment, JinWoo says the word arise, and from Kim Chul's body comes a massive armored knight with a shield. After Baruka breaks free from Iron's grips, he screams before feeling a dagger in his side as he realizes JinWoo was invisible. With a defiant grasp on JinWoo's wrist, he refuses defeat, but Iron appears, delivering a thunderous blow with his warhammer, nearly flattening the elf. JinWoo confirming the Elf King's defeat through the system, as he is relieved to have survived the close call. Out of nowhere, Iron hits Baruka again with his hammer, causing JinWoo to call him dense, even as a shadow, and telling him to cut it out, while Igris sighs in disappointment, but two other shadows cheer for the Iron Giant. It's here where the return gate opens, and everyone prepares to head back home, celebrating that they can finally leave. But JinWoo has some unfinished business, as he walks up to Baruka and says the word arise. However, JinWoo fails to capture Baruka's shadow all 3 times, marking the first time he's unable to capture a boss. Frustration brews within him as he prepares to confront the awaiting S-ranks outside. JinWoo, his student, and the guild members make their way back through the gate, marked with tears of relief. However, S-rank hunter Baek Yoonho was surprised to see only low-rank hunters asking for Kim Chul when Jin confirms they are the only ones. As JinWoo offers his student a ride, Baek Yoonho confronts JinWoo, grabbing his shoulder and questioning him about the lost guild members, which JinWoo responds by saying he saved the remaining 3 people and should be thanked. After a tense standoff, Baek Yoonho apologizes to JinWoo as he gets in his car to leave. As JinWoo drives his student home, he reflects on his failure to summon Baruka's shadow, and he pulls out a new item called Baruka's Dagger, a Class A dagger that makes the user more agile. Jin drops off his student, and she tells him she'll see him later, as JinWoo realizes it's past midnight, and starting today he's back to raiding with Jin Ho.